Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Good morning. Brian Nadeau with you and Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum. Happy to have him as well on what is it's a beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach, but unfortunately it also rained quite heavily overnight, so we are off the turf today. It is a fast main track. We're going to run those turf races on the Tapeta for the 9-race card, and we're with you a little early today. And I'll remind you, too, we're going to be with you tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. with the big doings, Black Eyed Susan Day today. Of course, the Preakness 147 tomorrow up at Pimlico. So I'll welcome Mike back. Good to see you back down here after you did the Derby and everything like that. So good to have you aboard. I appreciate it.
Yeah, a little calm for me between the two storms, the Derby and the Belmont. I just never do the Preakness and need a little time to recover from the 2 weeks in Kentucky and get ready for two more in New York. So happy to be here. Be glad to watch the big race tomorrow from the quiet of the press box and have no traffic. Get in the car, go home, and that'll be that.
There you go. Preakness 147 tomorrow about 7 o'clock up at Pimlico on a huge card. 10:30 post tomorrow, 14 races, stakes galore. We'll talk about it a little bit because a lot of Gulfstream horses are going to be in Baltimore tomorrow, and some heavy hitters up there as well. But today, 9-race card again. We're off the turf on a fast main track. The opener kicks off the early pick 5 as well. We'll take a look at my ticket. I had to kind of bob and weave a little bit, $24 ticket now. So we'll go 1-2. We lost Cocoa Icing amongst a few others in the opener. We'll get to that in a second. Boppy O, I know Mike's got a strong opinion on that one in race 2, and as do I. Half to Papa Cap, who was so good last year. In race 3, we'll go 3-4, Turn It On. We've got a replay of that one coming up, and then a 4x3 late kind of double to get out of this sequence. I'll go Eco on top, and then in race number 5, Wow Run, another replay coming up as well. You see it there, $24 early pick 5 sequence. So we'll get to the opener. We are off the turf. We go 1.70 miles now on the Tapeta, scratch to 3, 5, and 6. So we lose a few out of here. Mike, we both now land on Beastie Girl, who's got some good turf form up at Tampa, drops out of a maiden special weight, and kind of to me, with the scratches now, looks like going to be definitely tough to beat. 9-5 as I take a peek at the board early on.
Yeah, Beastie Girl was actually my original pick. I was trying to beat Cocoa Icing just because that mare looked like she had a little hang in her, and might have been a bit suspect at a short price. Beastie Girl would have been second or third choice in here. Now you're going to get her probably as the favorite, and now you got a big question mark about the Tapeta because she's never run on the Tapeta. I mean, what I liked about her was I think she just run against better horses and kind of held her own, wasn't disgraced in maiden special weight races at Tampa on the turf and on the dirt, and also ran a good race for this tag. So that's why I went for her originally, but all bets are off for me now just because, A, the price, and B, the switch to Tapeta.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely an unknown. We always say if you can handle the turf, theoretically, you handle the Tapeta. You still have to prove it. Obviously, I went down inside Oxomock now up to second for me. Chantel's been on fire of late. She's going to ride Lightning Larry. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow up at Pimlico. Fausto Gutierrez has done a real good job here at the Royal Palm Meet, really carried over from the championship meet. And this is a runner with some speed as well, sprinted on the Tapeta last time, and I wonder in a shorter field now, down inside, if Chantel takes the initiative, maybe puts Oxomock on the lead. So I go 2-1 in the opener. Those are the two I use scratched into in the early pick 5. Early pick 4 time in race 2, and I would think I'm going to take a sneak peek at the double Will Pays very early on, and I always say
will be the favorite.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think Boppio will be a strong favorite. Papa Cap, a half brother to Papa Cap, who won here on debut last year for Mark Casse, and then went on to do really good things. I mean, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, a Grade 2 winner at Del Mar, multiple graded stakes, multiple Grade 1 stakes. We saw him right here in the Curlin, Florida Derby, ran very well, actually, too. Boppio, I like this outside post, too, for these 2-year-olds, Mike. I mean, because we know, sometimes it can be a tough go of it, and now you're at least outside. I don't know if you've seen this horse work or not. I know the works were at Palm Meadows, but I would think that this son of Bolt Doro can run.
Yeah, actually, before I looked up the breeding, I watched a couple of tapes of his works at Palmetto, and they were very impressive.
Okay.
I mean, he was in hand all the way, best in team, best in company. So I was already singled in on him, and then when I looked up the breeding, I didn't know that he was a half to Papa Cap. So Yeah, I think he's going to be somewhere around even money, and probably will take some beating. I threw Big John in, another first-time starter. He's a full brother to a horse called Witch Hunter, who won 168,000 during his career. But he was winless as a 2-year-old, so you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. But he's had a lot of works on his resume prepping for his debut, so it looks like he should be fit and maybe best of the others. And Keno, who got bet hard in his debut and kind of disappointed a little bit. The race under his belt, we saw that yesterday, was a big benefit. So you got to respect Keno Arundel going for a sweep of the two-year-old races. And look, he does have that experience. So the other horse that people may look at a little bit is Quickening, who they paid $190,000 for at the sale for Breeze Easy, who was also part owner of Bapio.
Right.
But from the works I've seen of Quickening, I'm not a big fan at this point. Maybe he's going to need more distance or whatever. But of the two high-priced six-figure purchases in here at the Keeneland sale, but Bapio definitely the one that looks like he's going to stand some beating. Yeah,
Quickening out of a 2 for 25 Dam, who won in her third start. So, yeah, I agree with Mike. Maybe take a little bit of experience. We're going to actually show the replay of both Keanu, the 2, and the 3 Awesome Flay, who, Mike alluded to it. The experience in the 2-year-old races, I think, is huge. There's not a lot going on here, admittedly, the 6 and the 7 in this replay. But, Mike, I will say this. You know how this works. You get run off your feet as a 2-year-old, and a lot of times when horses don't break, maybe they quit or they say, well, we'll fight another day. I will say this. I thought these horses ran a little bit off the far turn. They're going to be very, very wide. I would think they break a little better today. And they didn't really pack it in like sometimes, they're floating out wide here. They ran on a little bit, and I'll give them credit for that. And you said it, too. I mean, you're a guy, you watch the works, you know these 2-year-olds. Talk a little bit about the experienced edge, too, because it is a big deal, especially this early in the year.
Yeah, look, you can't win a 4.5 furlong maiden special weight race coming from 7th, 4 wide on the turn. You just can't do it unless you're a real freak. So the race definitely will help them. They're putting blinkers on. If I'm not mistaken, was it blinkers on Lynx yesterday, too, maybe second time? And he won, so it's the same scenario. Arundel, Carlos David, a race under the belt.
Yeah.
So I expect this horse, obviously, to run a lot better. He's going to have to maybe get a little closer early on, but again, also with now that gate experience, that's liable to happen too. So he's a definite player in here. I could see why Pete made him the 3-1 morning line choice just because he's had that race and he got bet the first time. But clearly, Bapio, to me, with the breeding and the and just the way he's worked up there, I'm sure there's words out that he can run a little bit. That
without a doubt,
he's going to be the favorite.
And again, we say this all the time. Just check the tote in these 2-year-olds. Even if Bapio's sitting up there at 7-1, it's not a good sign. It's not going to happen, but it's not a good sign. So just keep your tabs on that. Race 3 now. We're on the Tapeta, 5.5 furlongs. These are 3-year-old fillies, are 4 and up, which have never won 3. We're going to go to a replay to start it off with the 3. Turn It On, who I just thought entering, here she is down inside the 1 horse. I thought she had a lot of trouble this day, trying to make the run here, first run down inside, and it just really didn't work out when she couldn't really get clear sailing, and she still won easily. Watch how good she is. There's nowhere to go here. Waiting, still waiting. And, by the way, these are 12.5 claimers. These aren't graded stakes horses. It's tough to have gears. And finally, when she gets her seam, she absolutely blows the doors off this field. Mike, sometimes you kind of get hot and bothered by horses that are winning. I thought this was a dynamite effort.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the 2 question marks here, or 3, because it's going to be a very short price. The biggest question, a new barn.
Yeah.
And you are stepping up. It might be the same claiming price, but this is a never won 3. That was a never won 2, so it's a little tougher as well. She is a 4-year-old, and I like that going up against. Actually, the whole field here.
They're all
older horses.
Yep.
Yeah. It was written for 3-year-olds and up, but they're all older horses. So she's going to be the deserving favorite in here, no doubt about it. Probably going to be too short for my liking. And again, with just enough question mark that I don't know if I'd make her a single, but she should win.
Yeah, I used Red Win as well in my earlies. You've got her on top. I think she's been in good form. She was in for 8 last time. I don't really necessarily look at this as that much of a rise. I don't think this is the greatest 12.5 we've seen. So I think she's a major player. I like her tactical speed in this draw too.
Yeah, I think this is an easier spot for her. Even though it's 8,000 to 12,000, I just think this is an easier field than she was in the last time. And I was just taking a shot for a price to beat the favorite because that's what I like to do. You know, there was enough question marks on the favorite. But now with Red Wind out, you know, it makes the favorite's job a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, without turn it on in here, going from Delgado to, you know, easier said than done to improve off that barn. But I do, you know, you saw the replay there. I do think she's going to be mighty tough in here. We'll take a quick break here after race 3. When we come back, $400,000 in that gross jackpot Rainbow 6.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round by first inside. Race. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you, and happy to be joined by Mike Welsh, our friend from the Racing Forum, helping out as Ron and the crew's up at Pimlico 147 Preakness tomorrow. Looking really forward to that, but we've got 9 today. And I'll remind you again, 11:45 a.m. show tomorrow, 12:15 post tomorrow, 12:15 first post, 12 races tomorrow, a couple stakes we'll get to, but we're back here now. We got through 3. That means 6 to go, and that means it's Rainbow 6 time. As I mentioned before the break, $400,000 in that gross jackpot guarantee, and I'm going to go a little bit more today. I'm going to say something. This is a card today that I think this last sequence is wide open. I would advise getting involved, and you can see my kind of pyramid here, reverse pyramid a little bit, because I'm spreading deep. We'll get to the 4th race shortly. Wow Run on top in race 5 for me on a spread. The deepest spread of the card is in race 6. Smokin' Bow for Kathy Ritko. I'm going to try to blow that one up in race 6. In race 7, 23, I lose my top pick. Saturday Night Girl is out, but we'll go to Our Girls Worth It in that one. In race 8, number 5, Honor is my long shot play of the day. 20 on the line. Mike gives me a thumbs up, likes that one a little bit. And then my best bet. So we go long shot, best bet, and there it is in race 9, Reducta on the maiden special weight drop. First time for Jeff Mullins off the long layoff, a barn that is long overdue to get a little Hollandale Beach luck. The runners have been running, and he's been snake bit a little bit. So we'll single it in the nightcap, $400,000 in that gross jackpot guarantee. We are off the turf in race 4. We move to the Tapeta. The 4, Packer Girl, is out of this maiden special weight. Mike, I went to Eco down inside, as did in the middle, I should say, as did you. Second time out for Tom Proctor. We'll take a look at a trainer stat, too. It's not a big stat, but it's a barn that does good work with these types here. Again, we've got to answer the Tapeta question. I understand that, but, Tom is, I believe, 3 for 11. Here we go. Thank you. 4 for 13, excuse me. Maiden special weight. Again, second-time starters on the turf, so it doesn't necessarily play, but we're going to use it anyway because it's a second-time starter. We say the turf, we say the Tapeta. You'd like to think you can handle it a little bit. And I thought this horse ran pretty well on debut anyway. Yeah,
she did. And obviously, I liked her a lot more when the race was on the turf because now you have the Tapeta question, and it's a big one. I mean, even though majority of turf horses seem to handle the Tapeta well, they all don't. We know this horse handled the turf well. We know she's bred super for grass, Kitten's Joy, Smart Strike mare. But I agree with you. I thought her first race was very good. The horse that won loved to run, went wire to wire that day. This horse took a middle run, got within a length and a half of the winner, and then the winner had it easy on the front end, pulled away. That horse came back and ran, and then other than I think it was at Churchill, and ran very well their Derby weekend. So that flatters this race a little bit more. The other thing I like about Iko is I watched that work on May 8th on tape. Work with a horse of Tom's called Influencing, who was a maiden special weight winner already, and I thought was the best of the team. I just like the way that she went that day. Even though she was in behind influencing and kind of chased her, I thought I liked how easy she went. Maybe not best, but just as good as influencing. So those two things being equal, I picked Iko. I usually don't like going with 3-year-olds against older horses. I mean, to me, Maria's Revenge is definitely the horse to beat off of. You just use numbers, and she ran with Colts and ran well 2 starts back. And now the switch to Tapeta probably helps her because she's proven on Tapeta.
Yeah, she's got the form there.
Yeah.
So, and one of the few in here with the Tapeta form, and I do think that's a benefit. And the post isn't as bad now when you're 7. You're
but
out
she is
wide.
0 for 10.
Right.
So that's one thing. You're going to get 6 to 5, 7 to 5 somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So that 0 for 10 maybe stops you a little bit. And if Iko can handle the surface, maybe you can spring the mile.
And I'll mention School Dance, too, because she does have Tapeta form as well, and I think she probably benefits, too. Another one that benefits. It says prove it on the surface, and as Mike's kind of alluded to, we've got to take that into account. Horses like Iko have not run on the Tapeta, so just, kind of factor that in for your
And she beat Iko the first time they ran against each other, but, again, you got to take into account that Iko, that was her first start, and she's really supposed to move well forward off of that.
Race 5 kicks off the late pick 5. We'll take a quick look at my ticket here. It's basically, I couldn't do it right back the way I did in the Rainbow because this is obviously a 50-cent play. This is a $30 ticket, so take note of that. Again, the single in the nightcap and then the long shot in race 8 as well, which we'll get to at 20 to 1 on the morning line. I think there's prices in this sequence today. In race 5 here, we are on a fast main track. These are 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2. The tag is 12.5 down to 10. And I go to Wild Run, and we're going to take a look at a replay, too. And I thought this horse, I like this move, and then, the jockey loses the whip, and the horse kind of came off the bridle a little bit late. I thought this was, at this point, to me, it looks like a winning move, flattened out a little bit late. You're going to see the whip kind of comes out here, entering the far turn. I thought this was a power move, entering the far turn. Mike, I would think we're going to get a little bit of a number. It's 12 to 1 on the morning line. We get Edwin Gonzalez there. You see the whip. I thought this horse was going to run a little bit and then just kind of flattened out late. I think he's live at a price in here.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking in here. I just kind of skipped by him a little bit because all his form is on, most of his form has been on Tapeta and Turf lately, but he has run well on the main track and has worked well on the main track. So I think you might have something there. I also went for a price here, too, a little bit. Well, I don't know. Awesome Pudding, maybe not going to be a price. Got beat at 3 to 5 last time, which normally would upset me coming back against the same caliber of horses. But the horse that beat her that day was Sky Bridge, who just kind of freaked. I mean, had been running 50 buyers, ran like a 72, I think, out of the blue for Rowan Crichton that day. So this horse ran a winning race. By all rights, should have probably won that race and been in the next condition now. Outside post, may not see the lead in here, which is a question
Not a bad
mark
thing.
for
There's a lot
him.
of speed in this race.
Yeah, there is. But, I mean, from the outside, if he was inside, I'd like him less. But from the outside, he should get a bit of a stalking trip. So I went there. Creative Cloud, obviously the giant question mark in here. Saffie took him back. That's the one thing that, off of 2 terrible races now, you got to be a suspect of him. But Saffie, for some reason, wanted him back. He ran him for the 35, got claimed, takes him back for 12.5, has had several works under his belt. I didn't see those. They were at Palm Meadows. So I don't know what to do with him. I think he's going to be a little less than 5 to 1 just because it's Saffie.
Yeah.
But
if he
won,
runs,
it wouldn't surprise me if he was off the board. These are the kind of horses that make betting races like this so hard because you just really don't know. You're just really guessing.
If he gets back to his form, he'll lap this field. But like you said, his last 2 races have not been good. Quick stat on the 6, Spring the Beast. Paco is here today riding. There is so much speed in this race, and this is a wild stat. I mean, look at this off the claim for Gilberto Zerpa. 45% with a huge ROI in a big sample off the claim dirt sprints at GP, right? The last 5 years. Paco is aboard, as strong a finisher as we have. Took this one from 12.5 from Dave Fox. There's so much speed in this race. It's another reason why I went with Wow Run to kick off the late pick 5. Now we'll go to late pick 4 here in race 6. It's a maiden optional claimer. The tag is 40. The Florida breds don't have to run for the tag. 6 furlongs on the main track. This is my deepest spread. And as I look down at Mike's picks over there, he's got a horse I didn't even use, and I think it's that kind of race, Mike. Jackson's Web on top for you, which I think is going to offer plenty of value in here.
Yeah, this is kind of a workout play. He had worked really well going into that first race way back this winter. I was surprised that he showed up on the grass the first time.
Yep.
And he didn't run that bad. He broke slow, and he got hung out wide, and he passed some horses at the end. Since then, he's come back and he's worked good again a couple of times. Now he's on the main track. Going to be a price. This, I think, of course, that was a turf race, but it was a pretty decent field. This might be a little easier field, hard to say. But again, just off of his works and the fact he's going to be a price, I took a shot with him because, I don't love the favorites in here. I thought Nepo Musino ran really well.
Well, we're going to show that race.
Okay,
Let's pop
wait.
it up now because
Okay.
I agree with you too, and I've got him in second. And here's the race here. He basically he's just taking all the worst of it right here. Dueling on the
Absolutely.
inside, finishing order in this race. 8-7-2, and you can't find the 8 and the 7 right now. He sticks around. I thought it was a really good effort, Mike, off the long layoff too.
Yeah, and that was a Saffie Joseph first-time starter that won the race. This horse was off for a long time coming into it, so you have to expect he's going to benefit from him. There is some speed with him. That's the problem. Love Minister has speed right outside, so they might wind up ding-donging it early and doing each other in. Smoke and Bo, a little bit of speed himself, but I just like the way he ran. And, of course, Hammer Lane is obvious, that huge debut effort. Next time, it didn't break real well from the rail. He was a suspect to bounce anyway off that big first race. He did a little bit buyer-wise, but still ran well enough to get second money. He split a couple of well-meant, not on the board, but a couple of first-time starters for Kathleen O'Connell, Aztec and Love Minister, who ran 1-3.
Right.
I actually bet on both of those that day because they had worked well in company together going into the race. So it wasn't as bad an effort as maybe it looked. But the slow start, the one hole that they didn't help.
Right.
But this might be a horse who ran that big race first time and may never get back to that, and he's still going to get bet back to that, at least for one more start.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Tread a little bit lightly here. Race 7 of the late pick 3 here. We're off the turf. We go to the Tapeta, obviously, in an optional claimer. These are just 3-year-old fillies here in a good group. Saturday Night Girl is out. It's a big scratch. I move into Our Girls Worth It for Eddie Plisa, who's just been on a tear. Now, again, as Mike alluded to, we don't know about the Tapeta. She did run on it a few times. Clearly wasn't as good as her turf races, but I don't know, Mike. I just kind of thought maybe at the end of the day she's maybe as good as anyone in here.
Yeah, I mean, I scratched into the same two you did. Saturday Night Girl was also my top pick. I put Poema over Our Girls Worth It. Part of it is Poema is an absolute morning all-star. I mean, she just works terrific, and you see her last work was a 46, and it was all of that. I mean, and she didn't even, she wasn't all out to do it, but she's done this before, and it's kind of got close, but hasn't won. But she's run well a couple of times on the Tapeta. I think if she's ever going to run back to one of these works and get back to the winner's circle, now with Saturday Night Girl out especially, today is the day. I think she can beat Our Girls Worth It, especially if Luca, I'd like to see him take the early initiative and maybe try to outrun the two to the lead. I'm almost thinking the one of these two that gets to the front is going to win in here.
I will say this. Slot Queen didn't win on debut for Tom Proctor here on the Tapeta, and then she went up to Tampa and won on the main track. It was a very fast race for the level on the Tapeta, and we've already talked about Tom Proctor with the first-time starters, not necessarily his jam. Second-time starters are, and now this horse has got experience getting back to the Tapeta. She could move up as well, so take note of that. We'll get to race 8. It's a good one, too. It's an optional claimer here. These are 3-year-olds and up. We sprint 6 furlongs on the main track, and Mike gave me the thumbs up as I was talking about the 5, Honor, who's my long shot play of the day. Wow, Mike's got this one on top as well.
That's crazy. I mean, we did not handicap the card together or speak until I got here about 3 minutes before we came on the set.
And we do scratch the 2, who was 5-1 on the morning line, so we lose 17 points there. Pete made this one 20. I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, there are horses. Where's Joey? Absolute Grit, who should be strong favorites. The scratch hurts, but I still think, Mike, we're allowed to think we're going to get 8-1 here on a horse, to me, is going to move up today.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He looks like he works well on the dirt. He ran well on the dirt in his native Argentina. That horse, the Power Up that he beat last time, looks like a pretty decent horse. I think he finished in front of Power Up in that race that he won. Looks like a decent horse. And he ran with a really salty bunch of turf horses in his first time and didn't get a disgrace. And,
No.
and turf is probably not his best game. So that was me, big price, and a horse that looks suspicious enough to take a shot with.
And we got a stat, too. We'll take a look at a stat, too, with Kent. Kent Sweezy's been very, very sharp to kick off this Royal Palm Meet. It's a small one. I get it. But look, he's 3 for 11 off this extended layoff. So just kind of point being, a horse that's going to be a price today, he should improve today.
Yeah. And is Reserve Not Attained out, or did I mark that down?
He is out, yeah. So we're going to lose a lot here.
There was a lot of points on the morning line. But he was also speed, and that was one of the reasons I liked Anur. You had the 3 favorites probably. Where's Joey, Absolute Grid, Reserve Not Attained, all the same running style. They all want to be up closer on the lead. So I think that would have benefited Owner. And now you got one of those 3 out, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out early on between the 3 and the 4. But again, 8-1 isn't 20, but you don't mind cashing $18 tickets if we can get them there. We'll see.
Absolutely, and to be fair, you need a square price on this horse too, because he does have to improve. Absolute Grit for Rohan, who's just been off the charts, basically all year. Not even the Royal Palm is definitely going to hit hard in there. We'll get to the finale. We are on the Tapeta here. These are $16,000 maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3 and up, 5.5, and I kind of emphasize the $16,000 maiden claimers because there's no doubt Reducta off the long break. Mike Land's here too for Jeff Mullins, who I've kind of alluded to has been snake bitten a little bit here at the meet. Overdue. The barn is overdue for some luck. The drop off the maiden special weight races. She hasn't run since June of last year. It's kind of the elephant in the room, but just maybe this is where she's supposed to be now.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, obviously this is the last chance saloon for this one, but she puts blinkers on. She's trained okay, nothing special, but she's got a lot of miles under her belt in the morning, so she should be fit off that long layoff, and just a class edge here. Older horse against mostly 3-year-olds. A lot of things to like about her. 4-1, I doubt, but probably more like 2. But that, to me, she's the one to beat. Lady Macarena, same thing. She was running against a lot better when she was out in California. She came here and ran for 16 the first time, got hung out wide, maybe a race she needed over the Tapeta. She blew out really well for the race the other day, that 34 and change in the mud. So that puts her up a few notches on my belt here, too. And I'm taking her in behind Reducta. One of those 2, I think, will win this race at Reducta, the most likely of the pair.
We lose the 8 Latte Lover as well. I put Dry Humor in second. Mr. Louis Roussel is going to win races here this summer. He does it the past couple years. The Lasix goes on as well. His main man, Jaramillo, is here off the trainer change to Mark Cassidy. So just take note of that one as well. That's the wrap on the 9-race card, but we've got a lot to do here on the lightning round. And we've got a couple stakes tomorrow as well. Obviously 14 up in Baltimore with Preakness 147 taking front and center. But we've got a couple here tomorrow. We've got the Mr. Steele and the Musical Romance. I just want to pull up a replay as we talk about it a little bit of Clear Vision winning the Grade 3 Tropical Turf. And, very, very impressively gutted it out on the lead this day. There's a Chad Brown horse. Obviously, the heavy favorite was off the board. So it was an impressive effort. We've got him in the Turf Stakes tomorrow and the Musical Romance, too. What is a really strong 12-race card.
Yeah, it's a great card tomorrow.
Yeah.
That was 4 months ago. His form
a little bit
went backwards after that, so he's a big question mark.
Yep.
If he runs back to his race, he gets loose on the lead like that, obviously he can win again.
Yep.
But I don't know, I mean, these horses go in and out of form. Obviously, he was at his peak at that point. Maybe he's gone the wrong way. He's been off for a couple of months now. I took a shot to beat him. There were a couple of horses in there.
Yep.
Kind of sneaky that I thought were running against better, or as good as, if not better, and holding their own back during the winter. So we'll take a look at that tomorrow when we get there.
Yep.
I tried to be Clear Vision.
Yesterday, we've got these 2-year-old races. We're going to see the half to Papa Cap today. Lynx looked awesome yesterday, a first-time starter for Arundel. And running down a hot first or even money here as well. This horse had trouble, backed out of it, entering the far turn. I thought this was a sharp effort, Mike.
Yeah, I was thinking Lynx was the first timer in the Arundel pair yesterday. No, or was that the horse that run already?
The other one, I believe.
Yeah, the other one had already run. So my bad earlier. But no, it was a good effort. Obviously, David Fox's horse was well meant.
Absolutely.
Had even money, made the lead.
Yep.
Looked like he had turned him away briefly in an early stretch, and then this horse was resolute and came back on. So Arundel had a lot of success here early last year in the maiden 2-year-old races. Then at pretty good prices there too last year, and again here yesterday. So we're going to look at that horse of his again for Carlos David today. They swept the first two last year, if I'm not mistaken, of the 2-year-olds. They beat a couple of Wesley Wards, including I think Golden Pat was a Golden.
Yeah.
And maybe they could sweep the two here this week too.
Big card, obviously, at Pimlico tomorrow. Preakness front and center, 147. I believe 701 is the post. But we've got some championship meet power up there tomorrow. A lot of Gulfstream runners are well meant. We've got, we're going to take a quick look at Lightning Larry winning, and then as well with Karatari as well. Chantel going up there to ride Lightning Larry tomorrow in the Grade 3 Chick Lang, and then we'll take a look now at Karatari, who's just, when he's right, Karatari is tough as nails turf sprinting.
Yeah, I mean, she needs to lead. That's the key. I didn't look at the field tomorrow to see if that's what's going to happen, if she can get it. But when she's on the front end, and she digs down and she's tough to beat. You
can watch the Preakness right here. I hope to join you. Stop by, say hi. We're going to have a lot going on tomorrow. We've got the watch party here. Early post tomorrow to a 10:30 first post with 14 up in Baltimore. So
I'll still be clocking horses when the first race goes off tomorrow.
I'm not going to tell you I'll be here at 10:30, but that's the first post for that monster card tomorrow. And then, of course, also check this out, too. We've got that first bet, express bet wagering guide. I checked it out. It's really, really sharp. They did a great job with that website, all that. You can check it out. It's free. Picks galore, all of that. Preakness 147, front and center tomorrow in Baltimore. But we've got 9 here today, $400,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. Mike will be back with me tomorrow. I appreciate you stopping by. Upstairs to Pete for scratches and changes.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.